What is going on, everybody? It is the first show of the new year. The Al Gattulo Craft Beer Cast is on AM 970, The Answer. Hope you had a great New Year's celebration. Hope you had some great time off. I certainly did. I've been off since Christmas Eve. And back with you guys tonight, live, but also, well, not live, plausibly live. Obviously, the show is taped, but back live on the Joe Piscopo Show tomorrow morning, so that should be a lot of fun. Coming up in 20 minutes, Tom Nielsen, the Director of Brewing Operations for Emberside Brewing, is going to join me from Grain and Cane Restaurant located inside the park in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. The brewery is scheduled to open in the fall of this year, and I've got lots of questions for Tom because we want to know what is going on here because people are like, what's Emberside Brewing? What is Emberside Brewery? We're going to get you all those details. Coming up in just about, 20 minutes from now. But we certainly have some news. We certainly have some things to talk about. And the first one to talk about is the kickoff to the opening bash by the Brewers Guild of New York City. Coming up February 21st, 2026. The VIP doors are at 1 p.m. The general admission doors are from 2 until 5:30 p.m. It's a 21-year and older and over event. It is being held at a new venue this year, no more Industry City. It is at the Brooklyn Monarch, 23 Meadow Street in Brooklyn. If you follow New York City Brewed on Instagram, they will give you updates on the breweries that are going to be there, what's happening, food trucks, all kinds of stuff. Get your tickets and get them early because this is an event that will sell out. I don't know if they're capping it like they did last year. They probably are. And the tickets are inexpensive right now. They are going to go up. And yes, it's a little pricey, but understand that all of the proceeds of this goes to the Brewers Guild. And it's vitally important that we support these guilds if you want things moving forward when it comes to laws. The Brewers Guild of New Jersey, you're supporting breweries in New Jersey, funds the Brewers Guild of New Jersey. That helps get the message down to Trenton. Same thing here. This helps get it to City Hall. This also gets it upstate to Albany. Very important. Brooklyn Monarch, 23 Meadow Street in Brooklyn, Saturday, February 21st. Brewers Guild, I believe it's nycbrewersguild.org. I'll post a link. Go in there and get tickets. It's going to be a fun time. I will certainly be there. Funky Buddha is doing their Maple Bacon Coffee Porter Festival. That date is Saturday, is January 31st. We'll get you updated on times and what's going to be happening there at Funky Buddha. Hunapoo Day at Cigar City is going to take place Friday, March 13th. So Friday the 13th, Hunapoo Day returns to Tampa. Should be a lot of fun. It'd be interesting to see how they do it this year because Monster owns the company now. I don't think they've done a Hunapoo Day since Monster took over the company, but we'll see what happens there. Now, we have an update on Icarus Brewing and their anniversary party weekend from January 16th through the 18th. 9 years as a brewery. Some of the beers they've already released or have said what they're going to release on that weekend. Life in Hellas will be in cans. In Crowlers, they're going to release the Juice is Worth the Squeeze with the Tiki Punch version, along with their variant version, Dragon Fruit Banana Mango Vanilla Smoothie. That sounds good. And let me tell you something. The Tiki Punch, the Juice is Worth the Squeeze, it's a good beer. You should definitely try it. The Brewsology Beer Fest is going to be taking over the Liberty Science Center in Jersey City, New Jersey. After hours, it's going to feature over 50 breweries, 150 beers, and access throughout the museum. Now, this is taking place on Saturday, March 14th, from 7 to 11 p.m. So from 7 to 8, it's a VIP hour. And then from 8 to 11 p.m., it's a general admission. Now, the admission includes unlimited beer samples with inclusive access to the center's exhibits, stage demonstrations, and a few fun surprises. It's the boozy hybrid of your middle school field trip. For additional info and tickets, all you have to do is go to brewsology.com/Jersey City. As I've mentioned before, I've been to this event. It's a lot of fun. It is definitely something where I would suggest to get the VIP ticket. Because what happens is the brewers will be bringing some rare beers and stuff that will only be available during the VIP hour or shortly after the general admission opens. So if you want to take advantage of that, it is certainly something to do. And the other part of it is that in the VIP hour, it's limited to the amount of tickets that are there. So you're definitely getting in without having to deal with a ton of crowds. And there's not really that much of a long wait. If I recall, the 2 years that I went, you weren't waiting, an obscene amount of time to get beer. So good stuff from Brewsology. Now, if you didn't get your Big Brew Beer Fest tickets before January 2nd, unfortunately, you're going to be paying more. Big Brew is taking place Saturday, March 7th for its 15th anniversary. One epic 4-hour session, a VIP hour, 175 styles of craft beer, music by Mr. Lovejoy. The VIP hour is noon to 1. The general admission is 1 to 5. BigBrewNJ.com. 21 and older. Just go. It's at the Morristown Armory. It's going to be a lot of fun. My friend Allison throws on fantastic events, and I would love to see you there. I will certainly be there, but would absolutely love for you to be there. It's always a fun day at the Armory in Morristown. If I recall correctly, I think last year it was like 60 degrees to start, and then the temperature plummeted. I think I recall that because I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was there with Feeney, and it was funny how it was incredibly warm, and then it just dropped like dramatically by the time we left. There was a wind blowing and whatever. It was crazy. Anyway, a new report out says Americans spend big on booze last year. This is I'm guessing this is 2024. This is from Smart Asset. It says spending topped $228 billion on alcohol last year. Alaskans spent the most, with the average adult shelling out $1,250 on alcohol, while the state as a whole spent $675 million on alcoholic beverages. Wyoming placed second, with adults spending $1,237 as a whole. The state spent $543 million on alcohol. Coloradans spent just over $1,200 on alcohol. That's a lot of money. So for those saying that the beer business or the booze business is not doing well, I would kind of dispute that a little bit. Just a little bit. $228 billion is nothing to sneeze at. Nothing to sneeze at. And then finally, something a little different here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast, trying to help a buddy of mine out who holds a comic book event. If you're a comic book aficionado like I am, or was, I used to collect comic books, not anymore. But the Super Jersey Comic Expo has announced their new home at Iron Peak Sports and Events in Hillsborough, New Jersey. It's going to be taking place the weekend of April 18th and 19th this year. And so they're in a new venue. They were in another venue before, but they've secured this new venue in Hillsborough. And the move to Iron Peak Sports and Events supports a larger show footprint, enhanced operational capacity, and a more robust on-site experience for fans, creators, vendors, and partners, while preserving SJCE's core identity as the largest comics-first independently produced convention in the tri-state area. So, as Paul Brown, the co-creator and producer of Super Jersey Comic Expo, says, Super Jersey Comic Expo exists to celebrate comic storytelling and the creators who bring it to life. Iron Peak gives us the space and infrastructure to scale what we do best, bigger, smoother, and more guest-focused, while strengthening the charitable spirit that we're committed to for this year's event. So what's new? Larger venue footprint, supporting expanded programming and a more comfortable show environment, beefed up internal staffing to strengthen operations, guest experience, exhibitor support, and day of execution. Guaranteed free parking for attendees and exhibitors all weekend is paid for by the event producers. That's pretty cool. Enhanced show layout and logistics, including clearer operational flow across the weekend, and an updated charitable mission. So this year, SJCE will continue its charitable component and is currently finalizing a new beneficiary organization aligned with MS Support and Research. The official beneficiary will be announced through their official channels once it's confirmed. This is taking place April 18th and 19th from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There's a VIP entry at 9 a.m. You pay a little extra for that. Tickets are on sale now at superjerseyexpo.com/tickets. Saturday, if you buy the online ticket, $20 at the door. It's $25. On Sunday, it's $20 online, $25 at the door. Weekend pass is $30 online, $40 at the door. Single day VIP only costs you $40, but that's online only. And a VIP weekend pass is just an additional $30 more at $70, and that is also online only. To learn about the VIP experience, just go to superjerseyexpo.com/VIP perks. Paul is a very good friend of mine. I've known Paul for a very long time. He is a guy who creates websites, helps you maintain websites. He sells Hawaiian shirts. He's a big Hawaiian shirt guy and a huge comic book guy. And Paul and I have known each other a long time. He was actually the first person who helped hook me up with John Henderson and the Atlantic City Beer and Music Fest. He's a good dude. I love the guy and would love to see you at his event April 18th and 19th of this year. If you're a comic book fan, if you got kids that are comic book fans, if you got kids that want to meet the artists and the creators behind a lot of the great books, you need to go to this event. It's fun. Think Comic-Con, but on a much, much, much smaller scale and yet big. That's how you got to look at it. It's good stuff. And Paul is a good man. And I hope you can support him and go to this event, superjerseyexpo.com/tickets. That's where you can go and purchase them. The VIP version is there as well. And listen, it's cheap, $20. $20 online. Take the family. What does it cost you? A family of four, $80 for the week for a day, just to hang and have a good time. Good stuff. When we come back after a short break, more news and notes from around the beer world. This is the Algatulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970. The Answer.
Sun going down behind this tired town. Neon signs flicker like broken dreams. A man learns fast.
This is good stuff. Whiskey Bluesman. Now, welcome back to the Albertulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970. The Answer. I have zero idea who this guy is. If it is even a person, it could be AI, and I'm strongly suspecting that it is AI. The track is called Lucille Knows My Name. It's phenomenal. I mean, I've been listening to this stuff, for a couple of weeks now. I'd go see this guy in concert, but again, I think it's AI. So if I find out any more information, I'll let you know. Now, coming up in 10 minutes, Tom Nielsen. He is the Director of Brewing Operations for Emberside Brewery. He's going to join me from Grain and Cane Restaurant, which is located inside the park in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. It's a part of the Connell Corporation. And the brewery is scheduled to open late in the fall of this year of 2026. Lots of questions for Tom. We had a great chat. Some interesting stuff that they're going to be doing, and something kind of unique, too. Something kind of unique. So we'll get into it in just about 10 minutes from now. But we still have some news to get to here. The Chicago Beer Festival, that's taking place over at the Field Museum on February the 28th from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. Now, the event features over 65 breweries sampling their fall seasonal beers, with attendees having access to a select number of the museum's exhibits open to attendees. Essentially like Brewsology, but this is not Brewsology. The early admission is $75. General admission is $60. Early admission includes you get in at 7 p.m. and specialty beers poured during the first hour to attendees. Admission includes beer samplings with food sold separately. Tickets will not be sold at the door. The Field Museum is 1400 South Lakeshore Drive in Chicago. So, again, you got to buy this stuff online. Just do a search for Chicago Beer Festival, and you'll get the info from there and be able to purchase tickets to the event. Some good news in New Jersey. So a few months ago, we told you that Cricket Hill Brewing was for sale, that Rick, Ed, and Gwen were looking to retire and sell the business. Well, they have. They've sold it. I mean, Cricket Hill is a legendary brewery. It's been around since the 90s. They're one of the OGs of New Jersey craft beer. And they have made the announcement that they're happy to introduce Cricket Hill's new owners, Jeff and Andrew. Rick, Ed, and Gwen have officially retired from the brewery business, and they say they hope you'll give them and their families a big Cricket Hill welcome and continue to support one of the original craft breweries in New Jersey. Thank you to all those who have helped our business over the years, from volunteers who bottled or canned beer to those who represented us at brewfests, regulars who warmed our stools on tap room nights, the many bands providing great music, and those who brought their families and friends to celebrate milestones and special occasions at our brewery. We thank you for supporting us and our continued goal to bring delicious beer and a fun family energy to the brewery. Listen, I'm happy for them. I think this is great that they were able to sell the business and not close it, and new owners. I'm wondering if these new guys, Jeff and Andrew, are going to do things different with the business. Obviously, the recipes are the same, but are they going to tweak things? Because let's face it, and I've no secret of this, I have said some of the OGs, like Cricket Hill, haven't been relevant for a long time. They haven't really done anything innovative in easily 10 years, to justify to say, okay, this, that. So we'll see. Happy that Rick, Ed, and Gwen are in retirement, and kudos to Jeff and Andrew for getting into the business. Now, an iconic part of the Newark landscape is leaving along with the sale of the Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, that Anheuser-Busch has decided to shutter a number of plants. They've sold the plant in Newark, but the brewery's Neon Eagle sign has lit the sky over Newark for a quarter century since it was installed on the brewery's 50th anniversary. Air traffic controllers at Newark Liberty International Airport have been known to direct helicopter pilots to look for the eagle when they approach the airport as a marker. Well, the Newark plant, one of the three the brewery is closing nationwide, and officials with the company that's buying the property, Goodman North America, said the sign will be returned to Anheuser-Busch's head office in St. Louis. So it is not going to stay. It will be leaving and heading back to St. Louis. So that's some interesting information there. Our friends over at Hackensack Brewing are doing a chili contest. This is taking place Sunday, January 18th. You have to set up by 1:45 p.m. It's at Hackensack Brewing. It's 78 Johnson Avenue in Hackensack. It's free to enter. The entry rules are this. All chili must be made at home. No preparation or cooking of chili is allowed at Hackensack Brewing. Participants must prepare their chili from scratch. Pre-made or store-bought chili is not permitted. Chili must be brought to Hackensack Brewing in a clean, sealed container. Here's the serving setup. Sternos and trays will be provided to keep all entries warm during the event. Participants must bring enough chili to provide at least 15 small samples, but feel free to bring more if you'd like to ensure everyone gets a taste. Each entry will be assigned an entry number upon check-in. Contestants should not display their name or other identifying information on their station to maintain anonymity during judging. You have to have your chili ready and set up by 1:45 p.m. Judging begins promptly at 2. They will be judged anonymously. Each entry will be identified by its assigned number. Panel of local chefs will sample each entry, score them based on the following criteria. Taste is 50 points, texture is 20, creativity 15, presentation 15. Scores will be tallied to determine the top 3 winners. Participants must list all ingredients. A full recipe is not required for allergy and dietary safety. So, listen, there's some important stuff there. And if you win, first place gets a $75 gift card to Hackensack. Second place is a $50 gift card to Hackensack Brewing. And third place is a $25 gift card. Winners will be announced immediately after the judging is complete. So, good stuff. They've done this chili contest for a number of years. So if you want to get in for 2026, you can do so. There is, on the website, hackensackbrewing.com, you'll see a tab for Chili Contest 26. Click on that. It will give you all the information that you need. Our good friends from Wet Ticket Brewing doing another Brew a Beer. It's your opportunity to learn about and participate in the beer-making process. Enjoy an educational and interactive experience brewing a 3-barrel batch of beer led by co-owner and head brewer Tim Pewitt, along with assistant brewer Sean Ward. Tickets include 2 pours the day of the event and a pint of the beer you help to brew once it is ready on a to-be-determined weekend. This is taking place on January 31st from 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Tickets are $35. That's pretty good for $35. You're getting 3 beers out of the deal, 2 when you're there, and 1 when the beer is finished. You can purchase them at the tasting room on Main Street or on wetticketbrewing.com. There you go. I know people that went last year and said it was a fantastic experience. So really, really cool. So if you're into, wanting to know how the beer process is done, how they make the sausage, so to speak, get into the event. It's going to be a lot of fun. Barnes & Noble at Yukon in downtown Storrs, Connecticut, is closing up shop at the beginning of the new year to make way for a new brewery, the first of its kind in the village of Storrs. Urban Lodge Brewery is opening in the fall of this year. It's also part of an academic initiative with UConn to provide I'm assuming they meant experimental and academic learning opportunities for students to connect with the craft beer industry, according to university officials. Jennifer Mateau, UConn's executive director of the Connecticut Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, says, "Our goal isn't just to create a pipeline of new beer brewers in the world. It is to create interdisciplinary courses for students to get hands-on experience. It provides an opportunity to translate this experience to many other industries and roles. As I said, it's expected to open in the fall of this year, providing internships and job opportunities for students. 60 students worked with Urban Lodge Brewing to market and design a new beer from raw ingredients to the end results. The class works with Urban Lodge Brewery to design 2 that they launched into the market. More than 200 applications per semester take place for the Brew Crew course. That's pretty cool. So good for them. This, again, is going to be opening in the fall of this year. And then finally, Von Ebert Brewing, our good friends, have released their beer release calendar for this year in 2026. It includes a new year-round core beer, Reverse Math West Coast IPA, added to the current 6-core beer lineup. Sam Pecoraro, brewmaster of Von Ebert Brewing, says they've always wanted to add a West Coast IPA to their lineup, but the demand for their other offerings was so high they didn't have the capacity until now with their new North Mississippi Avenue space. So they're doing a Northwest IPA to provide variety for their IPA customers. Utilizing Pilsner malt and a more modern hop combination, Reserve Math West Coast IPA gives high-intensity aroma, a flavor of red berry, sweet fruit, strawberry, and guava, a crisp, dry profile that defines the modern West Coast IPAs. It is available in 12-ounce six-packs, and it is 7.5% ABV. They will be also brewing at least 26 other beers this year, including collaborations with Boneyard, Other Half, Grand Fir, Westbound and Down Brewing, Brewhose, and Highland Park Brewing as well. The new facility allowing Von Ebert to distribute from 4,000 barrels to as much as 20,000 barrels per year. It's already halfway there. Von Ebert now sells more of its offerings in 12-ounce and 16-ounce cans and has expanded its distribution throughout Oregon, Washington, Colorado, California, and Japan. So kudos to Von Ebert Brewing for their new Reverse Math West Coast IPA. Good stuff there. When we come back after a short break, for the next 2 segments, Tom Nielsen, the Director of Brewing Operations for Emberside Brewery, will join me from Grain and Cane Restaurant, located inside the park in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. This is the Algatulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Welcome back to the Algatulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. It's the first show of the new year, and I am excited because my next guest is the Director of Brewing Operations for Emberside Brewery. Now, for those of you who are saying, what is Emberside Brewery? Why is it in New Jersey in Berkeley Heights? Well, let me tell you, there's a new brewery that's opening in the fall of this year, and I mentioned it's in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. The website for more information is embersidebrewery.com, and let's get right into it with my guest here on the Craft Beer Cast, who is the Director of Brewing Operations, Tom Nielsen. Tom, thanks for joining me. How are you?
It's my pleasure. I'm doing great, Al. Thanks.
Congratulations on the new gig, first of all. But let me start off by asking, which the question that everybody has been asking, I've seen it on Reddit, I've seen it on Facebook, all over the place. What is Emberside Brewery?
Well, Emberside Brewery is a brand new brewery here in Berkeley Heights. We're part of a much bigger hospitality project. In our building, we'll have amazing Mexican food, taqueria, bowling alley steakhouse, listening room, and the brewery kind of sits right in the middle of that. And it's really a beautiful place. We're designing an amazing brewery. So taking 20 years of my experience in the brewing industry and really building something special.
We're going to get to that, your brewing experience, in a moment. But let me just, to clarify for those that may not know. So the brewery and the taqueria and the other stuff that's going to be in there, it's going to be within the brewery itself, or it's going to be like the taqueria is going to be next door, or the listening room is going to be next door from the brewery?
So, yeah, it's going to be adjacent to all these components, but it's one building, actually. So it's one big entertainment building, kind of an adult playground, if you will. There's also going to be some amazing outdoor spaces, like a beer garden. There'll be movie nights, beautiful patio, and kind of an overlook as well. Mm-hmm. So really a destination place to come hang out and spend your time at.
It kind of reminds me of Stone Brewing in Escondido, the beer garden that they have, because when you walk in, when you show up at Stone in Escondido, it's this industrial park, and you're sort of like, oh my God, there's a brewery in here. And then you go in, you do the tour, and you walk through the store, and then you enter into the restaurant, and it's this beautiful restaurant with a huge rock face with a kind of a waterfall going down, and then you go out into the back, and you're sort of transformed into this beer garden, where you can't believe that you're actually in an industrial park. You're actually in a beer garden. Is that sort of the theme here that we're looking at?
I think so, somewhat. Our theme is, fireside, Emberside. So we're going to have some really comfortable spaces with fire pits. We really want people to come out when it's not optimal beer drinking weather and have a barrel-aged imperial stout or barley wine, along with our hazies and pilsners that we're going to make. So, it's going to be a nice, warm, cozy place. I love that analogy to Escondido and Stone because I do love that facility. I've been there several times. Right. But I think you're right on. Maybe it's the 2026 version of that on the East Coast. So quite a leap geographically, and I think in time as well.
Well, you picked the perfect place for it because you have the mountains here in Watchung and Berkeley Heights, and it's the perfect setting for it. Now, as the director, you're responsible for building out the brewery itself. Have you purchased the system yet, or is there something in the pipeline? Is it your design, or is it obviously this is corporate owned, or did they come in and say, this is the brewery system we're purchasing, we need you to make the beer around it?
Well, certainly it's a collaboration. This project has been incubating for several years, and there's been a lot of discussion and planning before I came on board. So I'm 3.5 months in. Certainly my input has been provided, and we've gone a few different directions. The brewing system and all of its components are purchased. So we're working. You can look out the window right now, Al, and you can see. We're pouring concrete and beams are going up and all this sort of exciting stuff. So, the brewing equipment will land in June 1st, and, hopefully in the middle of July I'll be getting to brew on it. So, yeah.
Cool stuff. Now, what type of barrel system is it? How big?
It's a 20-barrel brew house. We've got an assortment of 20, 40, and 80-barrel fermenters and some bright beer tanks. We've got kegging and canning. We've got a centrifuge, really beautiful equipment. We went with the beautiful Argolith tile floors, and it's going to be a knockout of a brewery for sure.
The renderings are amazing. We're talking with Tom Nielsen, the Director of Brewing Operations for Emberside Brewery. That's the new brewery that's going to be opening in the fall of this year, right in beautiful Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. The website for more info, embersidebrewery.com. We're here on the Algatulo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. How did you get started in the brewery world? Were you a home brewer to start?
That's a great question. I'm actually from the area. I grew up in the Princeton, Lawrenceville area, and actually my father got me into brewing. I'm not going to say what year or how old I was, but he was an avid home brewer, and he actually did a lot of work for the brewing industry in the 90s. He was a flavor chemist and a consultant and worked with a lot of different breweries. So during those kind of formative years for me, I was brewing with my dad. And I graduated from Rutgers with a food science and technology degree and leapt right into the craft brewing industry with Sierra Nevada when I was 23 years old.
Wow, 23. That's pretty young to get involved in the brewery business and to jump in with one of the OGs of craft beer in Sierra Nevada. And that's my next question. You have experience working with Sierra Nevada and, developing a lot of their beers. We're drinking a Celebration right now, which is, the beer that comes out around this time, and people crave it because of the hop profile and the fact that every one of them is different. It's not always the same. What's the one thing that you learned from your experience at Sierra Nevada that you can apply to the process of building out this huge undertaking?
That's a great question. I would love to answer it over the course of 3 beers and an hour and a half, but I guess for this purpose, that's the one thing I learned. Man, you just can't compromise on quality, ever. I love the saying that, a good brewer is a brewer that has dumped a batch of beer before, or 2 or 3. You cannot put out inferior beer or a beer that you're not, satisfied with. It just can't be done. There's too much at stake, and you don't want to lose sleep at night over that.
Well, that's interesting that you say that because now in this day and age where, let's face it, 10 years ago, brewers could afford to be patient with their customer base. A brewery that would open and maybe, let's say, the first 3 months of the brewing operation, the beers are okay, they're not great, they're sort of off there, whatever. And the owner had time to build that customer base. To say, all right, maybe this batch didn't work, but we wanted to get out there and we're going to improve as we go along. Now, you've got to be firing on all cylinders out of the box, because if your beer doesn't hit it with people right away, they're not going to come back. Their discretionary spending is down. So, it's one of those things where you've got to capture them the first time when they come in there. So that puts an enormous amount of pressure, not only on you, but other places that are opening for the first time. So, that's a great point that you make there, that, if you dump a few of them, it's okay. You've got to get it right. And you're being that sort of perfectionist to make sure that those things are right. So that's a great point there. We're talking with Tom Nielsen, the Director of Brewing Operations for Emberside Brewery, the new brewery that's opening here in beautiful Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. We're actually at the Grain and Cane restaurant, which is right next door to where Emberside is going to be. Again, the website, embersidebrewery.com for more information. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. When you do open, how many draft lines are you going to have available to pour once you open?
We're going to have a main bar and a satellite bar. So the main bar will have 14 taps, and I believe the satellite bar will have 6 to 8. We're going to have a really comprehensive, thorough lineup of beers right out of the gate. Probably 4 core beers, 6 to 8 kind of seasonals, and then what I'm calling right now, I don't know if it's going to stick, but the Brewer Spark series, almost a weekly or bi-weekly different circulation of whatever I feel like doing, a double hazy or maybe an imperial stout here or there, whatever is timely and feels good for the season.
All right, and so you answered my next question, so I'm going to move on to the next one, which is you purchased the canning line, so I'm assuming you're going to have beer to can for people to purchase when they leave. I'm assuming you'll have a crowler sort of capability if somebody wants a crowler or something, and you'll also have the ability to do 4 packs of 16-ounce beers.
You got all that 100% correct, Al. Yeah. Basically, that's the formula that works. That's what people really like to buy these days. The crowler station will be there. But, the 4-pack, 16 ounces will be right out of the gates along with our draft offerings.
And when you talk about the outside of the brewery where you're going to have fire pits and things of that nature, is that satellite sort of tap system going to be out there so that people can easily access it without having to go back inside?
Exactly right. So that overlooking the beer garden with the fire pits, there will be a satellite bar there as well.
Gotcha. Yeah. Let's take a quick break. We're going to get more from Tom Nielsen, the Director of Brewery Operations for Emberside Brewery. It's this new brewery that I am looking at right now out the window that you really can't see much except for steel beams and a lot of construction that's going on. But, soon, within about 8-9 months, maybe 10 months, this brewery is going to be up and running. Of course, that all depends on the ABC and how quickly they can get their act together once the building's up. That's a story for another time. But the website for more information, embersidebrewery.com. We're here on the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. We will be right back. Welcome back to the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970, The Answer. We're coming to you from Grain and Cane Restaurant. It's a part of this huge complex in Berkeley Heights, New Jersey that the Connell Corporation runs. Tom Nielsen, the Director of Brewery Operations for Emberside Brewery, is rejoining me on the program. Now, Tom, I looked at the renderings on the website of how the brewery is going to potentially look. Obviously, there may be some changes, but this is essentially how the layout is going to be, barring any unforeseen changes. It is a massive facility, and to be honest with you, it might be the biggest facility that I've seen in New Jersey. I mean, there are places that are sort of warehouse looking, but this is not a warehouse. This is an inviting, warm space that just invites people in. Is it the goal to make the brewery a community meeting spot, since there's the hotel right next door here? There's obviously this Grain and Cane restaurant. There are other restaurants that are being put in here, a gym, things of that nature. Is that sort of like this entire area of Union and Somerset County, you want people to come in and have this like warm, sort of a warm hug?
It certainly has the potential for that, and I think a lot more too. I think we're going to draw all sorts of people for all sorts of reasons. Quite frankly, the brewery is going to be there to again provide people with amazing beer, but also kind of educate people on beer culture and different styles. One thing I've always really loved to do is give brewery tours and educate people about the whole process. Right. So I can't wait to start that program as well, and really connect with the community and the larger community as well, not just here in Berkeley Heights, and really see how we can serve the public in cool, innovative ways.
Now, part of what you're doing to introduce the folks to the brewery is a tap takeover here at Grain and Cane. That's going to be taking place Wednesday, January 20th at 6 p.m. tickets are available for this. It's $20, and so for the $20, what does the consumer get when they come here for this tap takeover?
Well, they get 8 5-ounce pours of a beer list that I've curated, which will include Celebration Ale, my favorite beer of all time, and 7 other amazing beers, ranging from local favorites from Twin Elephant, New Jersey favorites like Cane, and a few other surprises. Come and hang out with me and hear my thoughts on these different beers and a little bit about my experience in the craft brewing industry. I'm excited just to meet a lot of New Jersey brewers since I've been on the West Coast for 20 plus years, and I really want to connect with people in the area and see how we can take craft beer culture even further.
So the beers that you are going to have at the event, are they representative of the types of styles of beer? Obviously, they're not going to be the same recipe, but they're obviously going to be the types of styles that you want to brew at Emberside.
That's true to a certain extent. One in particular that comes to mind, a style that I really love right now that some brewers on the West Coast are doing an amazing job, are Japanese rice lagers. Really wonderful. I put Asahi Super Dry on tap here. It's not exactly the right season for it in the middle of winter, but I think it's a delicious beer, certainly something I want to make at Emberside and share with the public. The Connell Group, they have a legacy in the rice business, so I also want to have an homage to that legacy, and I'm excited.
That's cool. There's a great brewery. I don't want to call it a brewery. It's a husband and wife. They're in Brooklyn, and they brew their beer out of Wild East in Brooklyn on Sackett Street, and it's called Saltfields. And they do one beer, and it's a Japanese rice lager. And there's a fruit that they use that I believe is from Japan that has this funk in it. And the first time a buddy of mine and I had it was this past summer at an event on Staten Island. It was the only beer that he had, and we both tried it, and we both looked at one another and went, what is that? Because I've never tasted anything like that. And then we spoke with the owner, and he says, yeah, this is the only beer I make, and Wild East does it and whatever, and that's how they get their beer out. And it's amazing. So I love the fact that you want to spotlight Japanese rice lagers because there is a market for it here. There's certainly a shift in beer palates where, there are a lot of people who are, oh, yeah, I want the hazy, and I get it. There's a clientele for that. But I also think that the craft beer drinker has a much more defined palate now where they're enjoying and embracing the lagers. I think the pandemic had something to do with that, where brewers had more time to put stuff in their tanks because either they weren't open for business or they just wanted to, play around because maybe they weren't set up for canning and they had to wait or whatever the case may be. And I think lagers made a big comeback 5 years ago, and they've sort of stayed with people. And I think that's an awesome thing. So kudos to you. I am definitely going to be here for that Tap Takeover event on Wednesday, January 20th. Again, tickets are available for that, and I believe, can you get them from Grain and Cane, or is it, I didn't see anything on the website, I don't think, but, or is it Grain and Cane that you have to go to?
Follow up with you, Al. I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure on the website it's probably the best way to find out. Okay.
We're talking with Tom Nielsen, the Director of Brewery Operations for Emberside Brewery. It's the new brewery that's going to be open in the fall of 2026, right across from where I'm looking in this little private room here at Grain and Cane. Embersidebrewery.com is the website for more information. And again, the Tap Takeover here at Grain and Cane, that is Wednesday, January 20th at 6 p.m. The tickets are $20, and Tom will be taking you through all of the great stuff about a lot of the beers that they have on tap here and what he's planning to brew over at Emberside. I'm curious, now, you've obviously talked to a number of people here, and I know you've spoke with the folks over at Twin Elephant. Are you planning on doing any collabs with some of the breweries in the area either before you get open or shortly after you get open?
Yeah, absolutely. Twin Elephant, we're actually already planning to do a collab in February for our St. Patrick's Day event here at the park in Berkeley Heights. So that's going to be fun. I've been hanging out a lot with folks from New Trail Brewing Company as well over in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. We're discussing some really fun ideas, how to bring some craft excitement to the East Coast. So I feel like I have a lot of West Coast energy that I've accumulated over the last 20 plus years. So I definitely want to infuse some of that into the culture here. Our friends at New Trail, I think, are going to be a great collab partner. I just got back from a trip to Venice Beach 2 weeks ago, hanging out with Firestone Walker crew they're great friends of mine.
Good. You need to get me a connection with them because I'm trying to interview them.
Okay.
For a while, so
All right. Yeah. Well, I co-founded the Hop Quality Group in 2010, and Matt Brindleton was one of my co-founders as well. So, in September I did a few days brewing with Russian River in Santa Rosa. So Vinny and Natalie are great friends of mine as well. So the collaboration opportunities are really endless. I hope to get up to Allagash in Maine in January. I know, perfect time to go to Portland, Maine, right? But I'm going to go for it, and So I think you're going to see a lot of really fun collaborations from Emberside.
So now you talk about that West Coast energy. You've been here for a few months. You've seen the beer scene here on the East Coast, a little bit of it, not all of it, but you've seen a little bit of it. What's the difference between the East Coast to the West Coast?
You can't really compare, I don't think. And again, I'm 3 months in to being back on the East Coast, so I don't want to make a bunch of judgments. There are some amazing beers out here. Mm-hmm. There are some really incredible beers out here. Stylistically, it's a little bit different. The West Coast, to me, is definitely more hop-centric, which sounds funny when you have breweries like The Alchemist just up north a little bit, and some really incredible Fidens, incredible hoppy beer producers all over the area. But I almost feel like there's a little bit more appreciation for malt out here. Mm-hmm. Which makes a lot of sense. I think the further you get away from 2010, 2015, I think the cultures have collided a little bit. So when I used to come out to the East Coast to Philly in 2015, they were really, really different. Mm-hmm. Now it's kind of becoming more, a little bit more. I don't know if the right word is uniform, but a little more similar.
Okay. Is there a particular brewery of all the breweries in the United States that you would want to do a collab with?
Gosh, that's a great question. Goodness gracious. Ugh. I almost want to say like a joke, like Yingling. That's a total joke. It just sounded funny in my mind, so I had to say it. Oh, my gosh. There's so many great ones, but probably Dan Carey and New Glarus over in Wisconsin. In my mind, in my career, nobody has had a bigger impact, outside of my amazing group at Sierra Nevada than Dan Carey and New Glarus up in Wisconsin. If you've never had their beers, you actually have to go to Wisconsin to get it. Somebody that I've learned so much from, that it'd be pretty phenomenal to do a collab with them. Yeah,
that would be pretty cool. All right, if you had to brew just one beer to showcase what Emberside is all about, what style of beer would that be and why?
It would be a style of beer in a new category, I guess. Over the years, I've with the amazing team at Sierra Nevada, innovated so many beers. I was part of Torpedo and Hop Hunter and Hazy Little Thing. But my mind is really hyper-focused on something new and innovative right now. I don't want to talk too much about it. But I think we really want to, break some interesting ground and establish some new territories. I know that's hard to do today because so much has been done and done so well that it's going to be a challenge, but I think that's kind of what we're all trying to do in the craft brewing world is make our mark and innovate.
Okay. That's a good answer. That's fair. All right. I'm excited.
I could give you an answer that's a little bit more straightforward, but it's I'm really thinking about something really cool right now. Mm-hmm. So stay tuned.
All right. Sounds good. My guest has been Tom Nielsen. He's the Director of Brewing Operations for Emberside Brewery. It's a new brewery that's going to be opening in the fall of 2026. If you want to get a sense of what they're going to be doing, you want to be here Wednesday, January 20th at Grain and Cane right here in the complex, the Connell Complex in Berkeley Heights. It starts at 6 p.m. Tickets are available. They are $20, and you'll get a bunch of different pours from a number of different breweries, not only in New Jersey, but around the country as well. The website for more information, embersidebrewery.com. Tom, thanks so much for joining me tonight. Very much appreciate it.
My pleasure, Al. Yeah, I hope we can do this again sometime.
You got it. Absolutely, we will. My thanks to everybody involved in the show, as well as my guest, Tom Nielsen from Emberside Brewery, and, of course, last but not least, the great Buddy Watson, who by now is a councilman up in Schenectady. Kudos to him. I will finally be back live on the Joe Piscopo Show Monday at 6 a.m. This has been the Al Gattullo Craft Beer Cast on AM 970 The Answer. Cheers, everybody.